Good morning, everyone. Food has always been a major part of our lives. With immense population like India, it becomes very important that the food produce that reaches our plate is of high nutritional value and safe. So let us interact with few people who belong to the field who manage the same for us. I'm Preeti Sharma. I welcome you all to Rubaru, a discussion and talk show. And today we'll be talking about career in food technology and processing. To better understand this field, we'll talk with Ms. Hemangi Rani, who holds degree in Masters of Science in Food and Processing from University in New Zealand, that is Lincoln University. She is currently working as a food technologist at Fonterra and previously has worked as produce assistant at New World. Also, our next guest is Mr. Ravi Kuril, who holds Masters in Food Processing and Preservation from Nirmala Niketan College, Mumbai. He is currently working as Senior Executive in QA Travels Food Industries. He has previously worked with Lifebite Travels Food, Raw Presse, and Mother Dairy. Finally, to put in some more perspective, we have another guest, Ms. Reema Pandre, who holds Masters in Food Processing and Preservation, University of Mumbai, and working as a food export analyst at Intervec India Private Limited. She has worked with Oberoi Flight Services, Fiber Food Products, LLP, and PFNDAI. Before we roll on, all of you are requested to keep your video and audio on mute. If any one of you have any query, you can put it in the chat box and we will answer it later during question and answer session. Or later on, you can interact one-to-one with the respective guests that you want to interact with. To better understand the concept, first let us see what food technology is all about. Now, the food technology, it is a branch of science that deals with the techniques involved in production, processing, preservation, packaging, labeling, quality management, and distribution of food products. The field also deals with techniques and processes that are used to transform raw materials into food. Okay, to understand it in a better perspective, I have just taken a video that I would like to share with you all. So just let us have a look at it.
Wondered about the food you are eating? Does the way how food spoils intrigue you? Or have you ever thought how food can have fantastic flavors yet be so healthy? In this episode of The Science of Food, we'll discuss the study of what we eat. Food science is the study of the physical, biological, and chemical makeup of food and the concepts underlying food processing. The physical components may include the sensory attributes of food, such as sight, smell, and texture. The biological aspects of food include the microbiology of it, while the chemical makeup of food comprises of its molecular structure and reactions. Food technology is the application of food science to the selection, processing, preservation, packaging, distribution, and use of safe food. With their help, sustainable food is readily available and is of good quality when it reaches you. But what specifically do they do? One display of their expertise is through helping farmers preserve their apple fruits by coating them with edible wax. Without an extra layer of protection, apples might be attacked by insects, microorganisms, or just simply lose its moisture and nutrients. Food technologists help extend the shelf life of food products through processing them appropriately. Apples generally last for up to 6 weeks. But when waxed, apples can now last for 5 to 8 months. Now that's just a sample of what food scientists do. They also formulate new products in the market you usually visit. They study and extract flavor compounds from different sources. Does that mean I can make a peanut butter and jelly flavored juice? Technically, yes. But why would you? With the help of food scientists, the world can have safe, stable, nutritious
Okay, so that's all. That was the basic perspective that was needed to explain you all what food technology is all about. We have a series of questions that we'll be asking to our guests. I hope you will get the answer. In case you have any query, as I said, you can put it in the chat box or later on unmute yourself and ask the question there. So the first question is, what role do you play in the company you are working with? This question I would like to ask to all our guests individually. So let us just start with Hemangi Rane. Hemangi, can you just let us know what is the role that you're playing currently in the company that you're working with?
Yes. To start with, hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So to start with, I'm a microbiologist working in a dairy industry called Fonterra. So this is the fifth largest dairy in the world and first largest in New Zealand. So my basic work involves testing of raw materials to in-process samples to final product. And it is basically a quality control job wherein we are involved in internal and external audits because it is a PC2 containment area. We also deal with environmental samples, site water samples, the recycling water which we use on site. Apart from that, quality control failures and how to initiate follow-ups on that, equipment calibration, food safe, and we do have to have a food safety and quality certification to do all this. Apart from that, process optimization is something which is very apt, and we are expected to keep doing it as we get amendments in the food safety procedures which we follow on a daily basis. Um, as every other food industry, we are also aimed at increasing sustainability in terms of environmental sustainability. And that is what each employee or all my colleagues and I work on. And the other thing which we focus on is reducing the turnaround time so that we can get our results as early as possible so that the product can be let into the market. So this is just a gist of what I do. Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
okay, Hemangi, that's quite a work. Next, we move on to Mr. Ravi. Can you put some insight on the same question, Ravi? Hello, hello, Mr. Ravi, can
I,
you hear us?
I think he is not joined. He just left the meeting.
Okay. Okay, Rima, can you just answer the same question, please?
Definitely, Preeti. Good morning, everyone. This is Reema. Currently, I'm working with Intertech India Private Limited as a food export analyst. Now, this food export analyst basically means now we know from India we are the largest producer of rice, buffalo meat, spices. So definitely we export these products to other countries. So my role here is to review all the documents which are needed for the exporting of this food material. Documents which means the testing of the product, carrying out the inspections of the cargo, complete cargo, and then certifying them on the basis of testing and inspection. So this is the gist of the job which I am currently doing.
Okay, okay, thank you, Rima. Uh, Pushkar sir, you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So okay, you just let me know when Ravi joins in the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am.
Yeah, hi,
So you're
Preeti.
there?
I have just joined. I am facing some network, Wi-Fi network issue over here.
Acha,
So I
okay,
have just
okay,
joined
okay.
back. Yeah,
Okay, no issue. Actually, we are just started with our first question,
yeah.
and it is displayed on the screen. So can you just share it with our students? That is what the role you are playing currently, where you're working with.
Yes, yes. Sure, sure.
Okay, you can
So
go on. Yeah.
I am currently working. My role I'm currently working with Travel Food Services Private Limited, which is also known as a K Hospitality Group. They're into F&B industry and catering industry. Major city, they are handling major city airport. They have a restaurant. Yeah. So I'm audible now.
Yes, yes, Ravi, you are.
Hello.
Yes, Ravi, you are audible.
Hello.
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 Hello, Ravi, you are
Hello, am I
audible.
audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, yes. So I
Yes.
was saying, so I'm currently working as a quality assurance executive with Travel Food Services Private Limited. So they are also known as K Hospitality Group. Basically, this company is with F&B industry and catering industry. They are providing a major F&B experience in major city airports like Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Goa, Bangalore. Inside this airport, they have restaurants like QSRs. They have lounges inside. Also, you must be aware of some of the brands like Irish House, Copper Chimney. They are major restaurants, standalone restaurants in landside business, like you have seen in many places. So my role over here is as an quality assurance and hygiene executive. Over here, I am doing, my profile is like doing food safety audit with respect to compliance with regulatory compliance, local regulatory compliance. Also doing vendor audits, also testing inspection, also doing licensing part like FLRS. There is an licensing system like food safety license system. Also we have to do remove license and all. Also
Okay.
handling customer complaints of any customer complaint raised by the customer. So handling these are the profile I'm handling here.
Okay. Ravi, you used the term food compliance. I think our students might have doubt what exactly compliance is.
Hello.
So can you just hello?
Yeah. Yes.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, Ravi. Am I
Yes.
audible to you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was
I can.
saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I was saying that you
So
used a
compliance.
term
Yeah, I
compliance.
can
Yeah.
hear you. Yes. You can. You are. Yeah. Yeah. So, broad aspect of compliance is like every country has a local regulatory body. Like in India, there is a local regulatory body is FSSAI, which is Food Safety Authority of India. So in India, this body manage all regulations and provide guidelines to the all the FBOs like food business operator, even if it be manufacturer, even if it be transporter, distributor in food chain, right from farm to fork, like right from farmers till the end product. They manage all the guidelines and they provide standards to these FBOs. Okay, so
Okay.
working in India, we have to be compliant with the standards and guidelines provided with them. So compliance means we have to meet the requirement of this regulatory bodies.
Okay. Okay, Ravi, got it. Moving on to the next question. What are the qualifications needed to become a food technologist or food analyst? Rima, would you like to answer this question?
Yes, Preeti. So basically, we have done a master's in food processing and preservation. So that is first of all enough to get into any food industry. Okay, having a degree or a post graduation in a food industry, in a food processing is enough to get into any food industry. Also, there are a couple of extra courses available wherein if you want to go into a particular field like dairy, or say you want to focus on the quality, or you want to go in R&D. So there are specific courses available also. So if you do such courses, which will make you stand out from the complete crowd, and will be able easy to get into any food industry.
Okay. Okay. So basically, it is like a master's is enough to get a placement, like a better placement, or to start in
uh,
this particular field.
I would say to start in this particular field.
Okay. Other guests, if you have any points to add in, you feel free to just answer the queries.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I want to add into this. So, like to inform you all that apart from doing graduation or post graduation in food technology, there are many other courses available in India with the many colleges. Like you can be a dairy technologist, you can be a food science technologist, or you can be a BSc agriculture or microbiological or a biotechnologist. You can be, by doing these courses, you are easily to get into, you can easily get into the food industry business. And also how to add on to your to get into which will provide you extra benefits to get into this industry, like courses like you should be aware of some courses like GMP, GLP, ASAP, so like all quality management tool. So these courses will help you to get into this industry. Yeah.
All right,
I would
Thank you.
I would like to add, specifically in perspective about Australia and New Zealand, how the qualifications work here. So to start with, either a graduate diploma, PG diploma, or a master's is good enough to get into your industry. But um, I would like to actually jot it down into three different parts. What would you, or three different points you would need to consider when you are thinking about getting a master's or any qualification in Australia or New Zealand. So 3 points I would consider is, firstly, what you want to do. Like, are you more research oriented, or you're going for an industrial job straight away, like you want to get into a job or in a research sector. Secondly, if you are coming for because coming for an education here is just your pathway to come into a different country. No
right.
country is going to entertain you, or no country is going to directly give you a job unless you have their qualification, because that is
Absolutely.
their way of getting revenue from you. So that is how the country is making revenue, on the basis of education for immigrants
Yeah.
or international students. Apart from that, how much experience do you have in that particular field? Are you just a recent graduate, or you actually have worked a couple of years after your graduation? And lastly, how long are you planning to stay in this new country? Are you planning to settle here down, or you just want to take a qualification and some experience and get back to your country? So now, if you are going for a graduate diploma or a PG diploma or a master's, so master's would be either a taught master's, which is more a theoretical base, and a second one is a research master's, which is more research oriented, which I would prefer you go for if you want to do a PhD or a postdoc. And considering about your experience, if you already have an experience to that field from your home country, and if you're planning to come here, you can go for any courses, say PG diploma, graduate diploma, or masters, because though you have a qualification, that is just a degree which is on your resume. The employers are more interested in how much experience, hands-on experience you have, especially commercial and industrial experience into that particular field. An employer would anyways choose a person with just a bachelor's but have 3 years of experience, over a person who has just done a master's but having no experience at all. So that is how it works
Yeah.
here, because that takes less time to train the particular candidate, and the employer can give him more responsibility. And lastly, if you have experience and if you're planning to stay here for a long time, I would say, just to make everything sure for you, you can go for a master's, because if you're planning to stay for a long time, if you are considering a residency for Australia and New Zealand, a point system works for your residency. So if you have a master's degree, it is a level 9 course,
Mhm.
unlike PG diploma, which is a level 8, and grad diploma, which is a level 7 or level 6 course. So each level of the education system would gain you more points as you climb up the level ladder. So if you want to make sure that you want to stay here for a long time and you have an experience, so go for a master's degree and get
Mhm.
like, it gives you more surety to get a job. At the same time, if you do not have an experience at all, and
Mhm.
if you are planning to stay for a long time, you can go for a PG diploma or a grad diploma, because that makes your employer, because you will be appointed for an entry level job, and your employer
Mhm.
wants that when you are given an entry level job, you'll stay in that company for a long time, at least until they can get benefit from you. But if you have a
Right.
master's, they already have a mindset that this person is not going to stay for a longer. because this person already has a master's and would expect a salary raise or expect a better opportunity to come and would not stay long for an entry level role. So these are the factors you need to consider when you are choosing your particular field or what level of education you want to go to. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So basically, if we sum it up, it is like when you apply to some international institute, there they will give more preference to your work experiences rather than your degree. While in India, it is like both are important. Like you should have a degree, and along with that, you should have a good experience also in order to.
So I would say
work properly.
basically it is a catch-22 situation. Like if you go to employers, some employers would ask, oh, they would be happy about your degree, but they would ask you about, oh, you don't have an experience. But at the same time, you wouldn't get an experience unless they're going to give you a job. Because if you have a master's, they will hesitate giving you an entry-level job. But you wouldn't get that experience until you are given any sort of job to talk about. So that is a catch-22 situation. And here where your interview skills and how you portray yourself to the employer matters most.
Okay. So basically, how you sell yourself into the market is what matters the most.
Yes.
While placing yourself. Okay. Moving on to the next question we have: is there any certification course that will boost the resume? I think Ravi just mentioned that there are certain courses. Can you just explain in detail, like what is the duration of the course, and like how much weightage it gives to the resume, and what importance it has while a person goes for a job?
Sure, Pratik. Yeah. So as I mentioned, there are some quality management tools. There are some short-term courses also available with colleges and universities. Coming first to short-term courses, like there are many courses with Jain College. I think Jain College and I think ICT College. Then there is Rio College providing courses like sensory evaluation, good laboratory practices, then GMP, good manufacturing practices, or many convenience food, many courses. So the duration of these courses they are around somewhere around 1 week. Okay, 1 week with 2 hours of classroom training, and after the training you are certified with some certificates. So these are the courses which will be boost your.
Hello. I think we lost the connection. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello.
Actually, I was on mute. I was on mute. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
You can continue.
So should I start from start or?
No, you continue. It is fine.
Yes. So I was saying that there are two types of courses once you get into the industry. There are short-term courses, there are quality management courses. Short-term courses, as I said, there are many courses like sensory evaluation, convenience food, GLP like good laboratory practices, GMP like good manufacturing practices. These courses are available with many Mumbai universities, many colleges like ICT, like Institute of Chemical Technology, Matunga, Rio College, Jain College, Nirmala Niketan College is also providing some courses on on nutrition. So see, nowadays industry expert are expecting food technologists with food tech and nutrition knowledge both, because nowadays people are more aware of health conscious. Okay, now in every sector, right from manufacturing to catering to I think every sector are merging with the nutrition, since people are becoming more health conscious. So adding having a nutrition courses will boost your resume. That's what sure. Okay. So also these were the short-term courses, and talking about the once you get in an industry, having experience of around 1 year or 2 year, you start taking you start having an experience of quality management courses like HACCP, which is hazard analysis critical control point. Also, there are courses like lead auditor courses with respect to IS standards. Okay, once you get into these courses, you should do once you get in the industry. You have a background of an industry, then you should do these courses. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, after joining the job, one can boost their resume, like they get the opportunity to get many to do many certification courses. Ravi, are these courses provided by the institute you're working with, or you just have to seek out from somewhere else?
Yes, the courses like short-term courses, many universities, many food technology colleges or universities provide these short-term courses. Okay, so they are readily available. As I mentioned, colleges like ICT, colleges like Jain, Jain provide food microbiology courses. ICT provide diploma in food tech. Some other many courses like hands-on experience. Also, they give training. They give also training and hands-on experience on testing and all. Okay. And talking about the management courses, like there are many certification body in the industry, like TUV, like one of the Rima is working with Intertech. Okay, TUV is there, GNV, many certification bodies in the industry. Once you get in, you have to get in connect with this in the CBs, and they provide many different courses with respect to food safety, with respect to environmental safety, with respect to all safety. Yeah. So which can boost, which will boost your resume. Yeah.
Rima, do you have to say anything about this question?
No, Preeti, those are the courses which are readily available right now.
Okay, all right. So let us move on to the next question. Next question is, which are the colleges or the university in Mumbai or India that offer such courses? So basically, in India, like as far as I'm concerned, as per my knowledge, there are very few colleges that provide courses in food technology. So can you just list down a few, any of you?
Yes.
Himangi, can we start with
may I?
yourself?
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
That's fine.
Ravi, yes. Yes, Ravi, you can answer. No problem.
Yeah. So like to inform you all, since Mumbai University is affiliated, three colleges. Like one is Amity University. Like I think Amity is a separate university. Mumbai University has only one college affiliated, which is Nirmala Niketan College, which is providing FPP, food processing and preservation. Okay. And apart from this, in Mumbai, many other colleges which is affiliated with other universities like ICT, like MIT, DY Patil in Mumbai. So these are the colleges who are providing food technology or food science technology courses. Okay. And at India level, if you are planning to go to at India level, so we have many colleges, but there are certain limitation to this also. Like at first, I will like to talk about CFTRI, which is a Central Food Technology Research Institute. Okay, at Mysore. Okay, so these courses are this institute. It is a highly first rank institute in India to have an research or food technology course into it. They provide MSc in food tech and science. Okay. Apart from this, other universities are many universities in Latur, Sangli, at Lucknow, Kanpur, IIT Kharghar. These are all institutes which provide these courses. Yeah.
Okay, Ravi, thank you. Rima, do you have anything to add?
Yes, in Mumbai itself, I will just highlight some colleges. One is SNDT, which is specifically more into nutrition. So it's food nutrition and dietetics. Even Nirmala Niketan also has that course of 2 years master's degree in food nutrition. Also, Nirmala Niketan has one more course who are more interested into sports or say for nutrition of the sport. So it's like a sports nutrition wherein you can train the athletes or you can give the diet to those people.
Okay.
Sports people.
Okay, so basically that deals with being a dietitian or a nutritionist, right? Those courses that is offered by SND. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. That is there any entrance exam that needed to be cracked to get admissions? So, like if we go for any private colleges, are there any courses that a candidate needs to give in order to get the admission? Or it is just the marks that you have obtained in your bachelor's that will help it to get into the master's?
So, can I?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So the colleges in Mumbai, like Nirmala Niketan, Amity, DY Patil, itself they have an internal entrance exam to get into these courses. And talking about at India level, like CFTRI, they have also have an entrance exam for particularly. Okay. I think all the pan India level entrance exam, pan India level colleges has an entrance exam internally. So also there are some universities which are providing food technology. Say they don't have entrance exam. Okay, they totally depends on your merit at graduation or graduation level. Okay.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
so I had this question that since our students they belong to like they have done bachelors in biotechnology and microbiology, and this is like they have a very small part related to food till now. So is the syllabus enough to crack those entrance exam, or is there anything extra that needs to be prepared?
I
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
Rima, you like
First.
to join? You like to comment on this?
yeah. So I would like to like these entrance exams. Basically, even the institutes are aware that you don't have a particular thorough background because that is the reason you are doing a specialization course. Like
Right.
you are trying to specialize into that particular field, and you come from a background which is more generalized. So the entrance
Mhm.
exams are basically, I would say, it is more similar to aptitude tests which you give. So
Mhm.
it is to judge your critical thinking capability. So
Okay.
most of the questions are the basics which you learn from a science background, or even you understand you would have learned them as a part of biotechnology or microbiology. It is just you have to be more attentive, or you have, I would say, all they want to judge is how critically thinking you are, how capable you are for that field. Some institutes
Right.
would have a particular syllabus which is given to you, or like you get a brochure with the entrance exam kit, so how you have to go for the exam. But
Mhm.
most of the entrance exams would be about a clear basic test, how good you are among the group of students which are coming. And it's not specific questions, I would say,
Okay.
because if you already know the specific questions, if you have already specialized into that field, you wouldn't go for a specialization course. So it's more generalized questions which are asked. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right, Hemant. Ravi, would you like to say something, or it is summed up according to you?
Yes, yes, as yeah, is as Hemangi said, I totally agree with her. So it's totally basic questions or aptitude-based questions, which is and also this is MCQ type entrance exam, which totally depend on
Mhm.
your aptitude and your basic knowledge on science background, on biochemistry background, on food background. That's all.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Rima, can you just give us small idea about what are the subjects that a student studies when they take up food technology or food processing and preservation as a course? Rima, you're there? Okay, any of the guests can answer the question. Like, what are the subjects that a student studies when they take up this particular course?
Um, like as my master's in food science, so basic subjects like what you study as biotechnology, like in a biotechnology honors, those that is compiled into one subject, say. Then
Mhm.
you have food pathogenesis, you have food
Okay.
microbiology. So all the subjects which you learn as a generalized topic, how
Mhm.
in specification to food, how you can apply it. Then there is a special course for food safety, like special subject for food safety management systems, that would
Okay.
give you a more clear idea about how the courses, like how it works on an industrial scale.
Mhm.
And apart from that, food audits, and how product development, new product development, and new product
Mhm.
development right from product concept to commercialization of the product, how it is going with that, and how it is further related to, like for example, if we consider food nutrition, as Ravi said
Mhm.
earlier, that
Mhm.
now people are very health conscious, and every industry, food industry, would like to hire you, would give you an upper hand if you already have some knowledge about nutrition. So when you develop a product, in that also you can use this, like how the nutrition is, like if you're making any nutritional claims on that product, so how you have to relate it. And further, this is also related to intellectual property rights about that particular product. So
Okay.
all these are different topics, but at the same time, based on what you are interested in, if you are going for a master's abroad, you definitely have the choice of selecting which classes you have to attend or which subjects you want in your semester.
Right.
And yeah, basically these are the courses like food microbiology or food pathogenesis, and specifically food safety management system, which is more important, I would say, because on a basic scale, even under biotechnology or microbiology, we do learn about what,
Right.
like how microbes behave, or what is the thing, the basic logic or basic science behind it remains the same. But food safety management systems is what is more on an industrial scale, and when you want to work on a commercial scale, you need to have more knowledge about that. So yeah, that is, I think, one of the important subjects.
Okay, fine. Okay, shall we move on to our
Preeti,
next question?
Preeti, I would
Yeah,
like to
Arun.
add something more to this.
Yeah, sure.
We do have a subject of food packaging too.
Okay.
So, basically now products are available, right? But, presenting them with good packaging is one of the important factor in order to, increase the shelf life, make it more attractive, or, keep the product stable in the package itself. So now we see coming to the exporting of the product, which products are not available out of India. So their packaging plays one of the important role. You have to, keep a product for a long period of time in the same condition as it was produced. So in this, good
Right.
packaging helps a lot.
Okay, so that is basically the art of increasing the shelf life of a product. That is what you learn there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Nima, just want to Preeti, just want to add into this.
Sure.
Hello. Yeah. So,
Yes, Ravi, you
Rima,
can
thank you so
continue.
much to thank you so much to say about packaging. Actually, I just missed this. There is college in Mumbai providing, which is an Indian Institute of Packaging at Andheri. This college
Okay.
provide different courses in packaging. So right now in food industry, the packaging sector is boom. You have to every sector requires a packaging technologist or packaging technician or a packaging person who are aware of packaging from in and out. Okay. So right
Right.
now in industry, food industry, not only food industry, all FMCG industry are looking for a packaging executive. I mean, a packaging technical person. Okay. So
Okay. Okay.
doing this course apart from food tech will also help you a lot to grow your career into this sector.
Okay. So a person can purely get into the packaging also, rather than remaining part of the food, as Himangi mentioned, like studying food pathogenesis and all those part, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
you can just have a mix of courses. Doing a master's in food technology, then going for a diploma in packaging will highly boost your resume. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Ravi. Okay, let's move on to the next question. That is, what are the necessary skill sets that are needed to be a food industry professional? So basically, if a person wants to get into this profession, what are the necessary skills that he or she should have? Any one of you can answer this question.
Um, should I go for that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, like, I would say not specifically about, like, as a graduate, when you are a fresh, like you're just fresh out of your graduation, or you have just done your masters and have no experience whatsoever. The employers look more for, like, your transcripts are already approved that okay, you have studied this, so theoretical knowledge is there, or you have done your research, and your resume already gives them an idea about what you have done. What they want to know about you when you work at an industry levels is more about your transferable skills. Like how good are you at problem solving, how good you are at team building or communication at multiple levels. Then as a as a part of your study also, how much experience you have had in, like, mostly when you go for an interview, most of the questions are situational. They'll give you a particular situation, how would you have handled it, or they would ask you about your experience, about how you have handled a particular situation or whatever problem was there and how you solved it. So that gives a more idea. And how calm and composed you portray yourself at an interview, that is what means the most to an employer. Because every employer, when in your resume, it already shows that you are fresh to the industry. So the employer is already prepared. If he's hiring you, or if the role is an entry level role, the employer is already prepared to give you a proper training so that you become competent for the industry. So the employer, what they are more looking for is your transferable skills. And apart from that, how good you are at following the current trends of the food industry. They would like to know about whether you are in touch with whatever trends are going on in the food industry. For example, now sustainability is what every employer or if every food industry is looking after. So do a thorough research about the industry which you are going for, and what are the issues. Mostly going through the articles or news about a particular industry would give you a thorough idea whatever problems they have faced, and you can give in, and always try and give in your input or a soft advice about how you can try and tackle this issue, or what can be your input or what can be your take on that particular situation. So basically it is the critical thinking and your transferable skills which are looked for as a fresh like as an entry level person. And obviously once you get an industrial experience, you definitely know you have worked on it, you're thorough with it. Then what they are looking for is, if, because definitely they're looking for, if you're coming from another industry, why you're leaving that industry. If you're coming for a career progression, are you ready for it, are you ready for the new role, are you ready to take up a bigger responsibility. So it is basically about your the way you portray yourself firstly, and basically about your soft skills and transferable skills. That is what I would say, that is what impresses the employer more. And apart from that, also make sure that you already have thought about what all situations have you gone through in your previous role and how you have tackled it, how you have been a part of it. Like if you are saying I'm good at team building, you have to back up that statement with, or with an example. Say, oh, that was the situation and I took the lead, or I helped my team to get out of it, or how I took care of the team and how we tackled the situation. So every transferable skill you're mentioning, okay, I'm good at communications, so you have to back up with an example saying how you have done it earlier. So that is what helps more.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, anybody else wants to add in something?
Yes. So, as Hemangi said about the soft skill, which is also a requirement which will be added to your resume or CV. Apart from the soft skills, you will be requiring skill like IT skills. You should be pretty much aware of the MS Office requirement, all the like Excel, Words, PPT. These skill sets will surely be requiring once you get into the industry, which will be helping you be to present some data to the your management, as nowadays data science has been becoming a very vast thing in the industry. So having this apart from is required, it's very much required to get in industry. Also you will be requiring IT skills like MS Office. You should be pretty much aware of the IT skills also. Yeah.
Yes, Ravi, that was very important point, that one must be aware with the working of MS Word. Rima, would you like to add something?
Yeah.
Pertaining to this current job, what I'm doing, the skills you are required is you should have a good communication skills with the clients, because this completely in company which I'm currently working is completely client based. So wherein you have different exporters and which are local exporters. So to to make them understand the basic, science, or if their testing goes wrong. So they get worried. No,
Mhm.
no, no, my product is right. How it can be. So, you have to make them understand. Uh,
Mhm.
Having the knowledge of the food science, you have to make them understand what can go wrong, what might have, been the issue, and how to tackle it.
Mhm.
So here I
Okay.
feel the communication skills are very important.
Okay. All right, Trima. So basically, we can say that your communication skills, your critical thinking, and apart from it, a little or a basic knowledge about working of the different like this MS Word and all is basically what is required for a person to hold a good impression in front of the employer, right?
Correct,
Okay,
Preeti.
moving
Yeah,
on to
correct.
moving on to the next question. What are the pros and cons of getting a national or international degree in the same field? Now, I think Himangi would be the right candidate to answer this question. Since Himangi, since you have done your masters in biotechnology in India and masters in food technology abroad, so what can you just tell us? What is the difference or what is the pattern that you have observed among Indian institution and the institution abroad? Because I think most of the students, they like, for those who want to go to abroad, they would like to just know about how it is there. What is the, is it like in India we usually see that there is a wide gap between what is being taught to them and what actually happens in the industry. It is a truth that all of us are aware about. What is the case in like in foreign land? How the those institute tackle? Do they focus more on the theory or practical, or they balance it both? What is the scenario?
So there always is going to be a gap between what you study and what industry works on, because even though this they keep on revising the syllabus or something, but
Mhm.
industry works on a huge scale, on a large scale, and whatever equipments or whatever technologies you are dealing with on an industry, it is very difficult, or rather I would say economically inefficient to get those things into on a university or a college level. So you can just study
Mhm.
about them theoretically, and that gives hardly any idea about how that system or how a particular machinery or how a particular technology really works. So
Mhm.
basically your education is just going to form the foundation about the basic knowledge about what things are, why things are, but how to operate it or how to get into it is what you learn in an industry.
Mhm.
Talking about the pros and cons, like in India, we have like thorough education system, like we have too much of theory, too much of syllabus to be done. Compared to
Mhm.
here, it is more of your work life or an education and your personal life balance. It is not that stringent, or you do not have long hours to be studied, and it is
Mhm.
more flexible.
Mhm.
But at the same time, if we consider the students who have done their like high school from here and then come to university, you are a step ahead of them in terms of your theoretical knowledge, because you are already gone through such a thorough education system, so your
Mhm.
basics are strong,
Right.
and that makes it easier when you come here, because here mostly you don't have to remember things. Your assignments
Mhm.
are mostly basis of read the research papers. It is mostly most of self study, and you have enough resources available,
Mhm.
everything at your access. Most of the journals, like most of the university libraries would have access to different journals which otherwise you would have to pay. You have access to Science Direct, you have access to ResearchGate, and like
Mhm.
all the papers which are normally locked and you need a premium membership, but you still have access to all those things because you are a part of that. So every university would have a unique code and they will get access to that. So resources are much better here. And
Okay.
one of the good benefit I would say, because we have such a thorough education system in India, because the syllabus is so much to be covered,
Mhm.
sometimes
Mhm.
we miss out factors such as critical thinking. Like, okay, we take things as facts, okay, this is like this.
Mhm. Right.
We sometimes lack it, rather than here you have just a paragraph which you have to study, but then you have to
Mhm.
analyze it so thoroughly that you
Mhm.
would have so many questions coming out of it. And plagiarism is not really a thing which is entertained. So you cannot just copy paste from Google or Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not at all a source which you can rely on. So you have to do proper
Right.
citations, proper referencing has to be done what you are doing. So basically when you go through all the, like, you are basically doing a backlog of everything, where the research came from, what was the research paper, when it was started. So you have a thorough knowledge about what you're doing, and it is more of self-study, and then you present it. You definitely have resources and tutors to help you, but self-study is what you get. Then about the work pattern, like the study pattern here, it is most of virtual assignments which have to be done. Practical knowledge is also there. You have industrial visits, but at the same time, it is similar to India, what you have industrial visits in India as. Because just looking at to the industrial equipment cannot give you an idea about how it works within an hour or two. That unless you get into. But at the same time, you have more opportunities of industrial internships here. There are many companies here, like Silver Ferns is a biggest meat industry in New Zealand. Then say the company which I work for, Fonterra. Then you have Sinlay. All these companies have graduate programs wherein they hire third year bachelor students, or who have recently been graduated, say 6 months they have graduated. These people can actually apply. You have to write a proper statement purpose, and a proper application has to be done. And if you are selected, it is the best offer, I would say, because it is a 2 years graduate program wherein you are paid a salary, not a stipend. You are paid a salary, but at the same time you are allowed to work in every section in that industry, say from food processing, then transportation, supply chain. And at the end of your program, sometimes the company would decide what, in which particular field or which particular section you perform the best, and you are placed into that. Or sometimes the candidates are asked for. Either way, you are getting a short job, and you get to learn a lot on an industrial scale. So that is, I think, we sometimes lack in India. We don't have most of these opportunities coming in India. And also, when you're because you're coming here, and as I said, there is more of flexibility. There is not much study hours. Most of the students who study here, like most of the students since from the high school, they start working part-time. So they're working part-time, financing their own studies. So you become more self-reliant, more self-dependent, and you hone your management skills, how you're managing your time, how you're managing your studies. And also, apart from that, I forgot to mention it earlier about the interview or what skills which are necessary. Apart from your resumes talking about your education, what all courses you have done, people here look for what other hobbies you have, what are the things you're interested in, like, are you physically fit for the job? So what hobbies do you have? Are you interested in sports, or are you interested in a particular art form? Because getting engaged into an art will give you that calm and composure what you need for a job. If you are applying for a manager position, you have to be like strong enough to take a responsibility. So that is just honing your skills. So apart from your education, they also see what all hobbies you have or what all other interests you have. Yeah. So that is the difference basically.
Okay, Hemangi. Okay, fine. Ravi and Rima, do you have anything to share in this question?
I think Hemangi has elaborated a lot and very good input from her. So, as Hemangi said, that in abroad there are many companies providing graduation program, graduate program, graduate candidate program. So, like to inform you all that now this has been started in India also. Okay, a company like HUL, Hindustan Unilever. So they're coming with a graduate program where they are entertaining student to get into their industry, having a hands-on experience on the any profile on different profile. Let it be a R&D or quality assurance or production any. So right now it has been started in India also. Yeah.
Okay, that is a
That's
good
really
piece.
good to hear. Yeah.
That's a good piece of information. Rima, do you have anything?
No, Preeti, you can continue.
Okay, fine. So let's move on to the next question. That is, what are the scopes after pursuing master's or diploma in food processing and food technology? So basically, if I have done master's and I go into the market, like what are the job opportunities that are available, or what are the different fields that I can get into after doing this particular course? Anima, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Pretty after pursuing master's or diploma in food processing and technology, one should be sure that exactly what field he is interested in, he or she is interested in. Because we
Right.
have a wide open section for quality. We have R&D, wherein you can research on the current product and bring out the new trends of that product. Also, there is one field of NPD, which is new product development.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the basic major fields which open up after MSc diploma, but one should be very much sure which he wants to get into it. And also, there is a field of regulatory,
Mhm.
wherein there are different standards and to license a product. If you are with some new product, definitely you want to bring that product into the market. So you should know
Right.
the regulatory of that. So that is also one of the field in the food processing and technology.
Okay. Okay, Rima. Ravi and Himangi, any one of you can proceed further with the same question.
Yeah, I think pretty much what she mentioned, the basic fields which are there. Apart from that, I would just take names of certain job profiles which you can apply for, say, sensory technologist or a flavor technologist, nutritionist, key technical person at a microbiology, food microbiology or food chemical lab, process technician, then quality assurance and quality control, then food safety and quality leads, or you can act as a food advisor, then food auditor. Food auditor is something you get trained for it, like you start, this is something I would say, consider after 3 or 4 years of working in the food industry, you know how the food industry is working, how that particular industry is working, and every
Right.
industry would have internal and external audits which are going on. So if you know that industry in and out, you can go for courses about food auditing. And this is something, if you are planning to pursue self-employment in future, so you need a license for food audit, to be a food auditor. And there are certain agencies which you can work for, and they can give you clients, or you can have your own clients where you can do the food auditing. And mostly this is in affiliation or under the food safety boards of a particular country. And apart from that, intellectual property to a certain extent, if you are going for product development, so you can consider that as well. And pathogen testing, food pathogen testing, so these are some specializations you can do. Yeah, that is to sum up. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Ravi, do you have anything to say?
Yes, yes, yes. So, as Rima and Hemagi has described all the sectors with respect to different food business, I will just like to add into this, like these the Rima and Hemagi which they are talking about are all public bodies, like private sectors. Okay, so in
Okay.
India there is an opportunity in public body also, like FSSI. You can get into, you can try to get into FSSI, FDA. There are many entrance exam which are done by FSSAI. Like once you get into this, you can be a food safety officer, or you should be a designated officer. Okay, so these are also
Right.
opportunity in India. Once you, if you're thinking to get into the government jobs.
Right. Okay, so this has scope in government as well as private sectors, right?
Yes.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Uh, let's move on to the next question. That is, what is the current scenario in food industry with respect to the competition? I would like Ravi again to answer the question. What is the current scenario right now with
Competition,
respect to the competition?
yes, yes, competition in food industry. I think my perspective is like there are competition in every industry, every sectors. Okay, So
Right.
rather than thinking about competition in any sector, you have to think about your capability, your expertise, and your focused to any sector. Okay. And with respect to food industry competition, yes, there are a lot of competition in every sector, in every horizontal, in every vertical. But apart from this, there are many opportunities are coming up in the industry. Okay, since even the government has also provided many subsidies to the food business operator. Okay, which will be boosting the revenue of the country. And also opportunity, since you must be knowing see the work of a food technology is right start from farm agriculture. Okay, and it's end to the folk where the person take the food on a plate and he eats. Okay, the work of food technology right from farm to folk. So you must be knowing how broad spectrum is this. So you can get into any sectors. There are many intermediate in this, like right from farmers, agriculture business, agriculture after pre-processing, processing, final products, new product development, research, many. So yes, there are competition, but also on the other hand, you have many opportunities in the market.
Okay. Rima, I would like to know that how does the graph go? Like earlier, people used to pursue this particular field, but now there is it sort of have started like a trend to get into the food technology. Like I can say that this is the booming field right now. So how does the graph of the people go? Like is it like increasing exponentially? A lot of people are enrolling themselves in the course because of the awareness, or like what is the current status?
Yes, Preeti, you mentioned it right. Earlier, people were not aware of this field existing actually. Uh,
Hmm.
but as my perspective, as far as human being is there, food is naturally needed
Right.
for the consumption. So this food is
Right.
one of the field which is sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And with your new innovative ideas and creativity, wherein taking new product development into consideration, this field is definitely now going to grow more also in the future.
Okay. Okay. So it has a better future too.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Hemangi, do you have anything to
Yeah,
discuss
I
in the same
completely
question?
agree with Rima's point about sustainability. Because now, as we have the corona pandemic situation, and
Hmm.
majority of people are becoming unemployed.
Right.
But I would say food sector is something which comes under an essential work or essential skill sector, and
Absolutely.
food industry cannot be shut down completely. So
Mm-hmm.
if I talk about the scenario abroad,
Hmm.
all people are all the government of a particular any country is focused on is giving the basic necessities to the people in such like this scenario of pandemic. So they
Hmm.
cannot really shut down food industries. So food
Right.
industries or processing industries comes under an essential skills, and whenever we choose a particular career prospect, what we want is stability and
Hmm.
security. So
Right.
a job security, in terms of job security and stability, food industry definitely gives you. And
Hmm.
obviously you should have good, like innovative skills should be there, but at the same time, not every food product what a person consumes is like a rocket science. There are some certain
Hmm.
basic staple foods which you consider, which you
Hmm.
consume, and they are going to be stable. These are something I would say are constant for a long time, unless
Hmm.
something goes wrong, or like that particular product is has given some side effects or something, that particular food
Hmm.
product. So for example, in India people consume rice. So if you are working with some product related to rice, that is
Hmm.
going to be there for a long term. If you consider Italy, pasta is a thing.
Yeah.
So consider with processing, like from growing to processing wheat and getting into a product, say pasta, is
Hmm.
something is going to be constant for a long time. So in terms of security and stability, definitely food industry has a lot of scope and is still growing. No matter what sector of food industry you're working, it is still going to be essential.
Right. All right, Hema. Okay, fine. So let's move on to the next question. That is, what is the future of food industry in India and abroad? So I would like Ravi to answer this question. You have already mentioned it that this is a very sustainable field and it is going to have a future. But can you just relate it to something, how it is going to be a sustainable field? Like, uh, how is it going to boom further? Can you just add some point to it?
With respect to sustainable, yes, it's very far sustainable. Since Hemangi mentioned staples or cereals based category, so these are products which are human population will never going to be stop this. They will always having it. Apart from staples and cereals, there are other product like dairy technologies, dairy industry, also manufacturing industry with respect to bakery products, many. So the future is bright, yes, of course. And apart from this, the coming good scope is into the packaging thing also. So yes, you have made the product, but at last the only thing is that how to preserve that product for the long shelf. Okay, so
Right.
currently food industry is booming apart from getting from then moving to the packaging also. Okay,
Mhm. Right. Okay. Any other person would like to add?
so these are all the things. Yeah.
You are still continuing. Sorry. You are continuing, Ravi?
No. Thank you so much. At last, I
Okay.
just want to add that food industry has a very bright future, which we
Okay.
see you will be never going to stop eating food. Okay, so
Definitely.
with respect to job security, food industry is always there.
Yeah. So right from dairy to winemaking to brewery, like every field, like whatever we are consuming, it is all coming from a food technologist only. So definitely, it is going to have a, like, it seems that it is going to have a good field or good career ahead. Himangi or Rima, would you like to add anything?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Okay,
go
okay.
Rima.
Hemangi.
Okay. So yeah, definitely agree with Ravi. And I would just like to add, apart from the constant or the staple food which we consume that is going to remain a trend for a longer time, what food industry runs is on trends. So considering the trends which are coming up now, like which are just trying to flourish now, I would go like in terms of sustainable food, sustainable packaging, or sustainable waste, like disposal of packages which we are using. That is something which has just started to flourish now and would be like stronger trends in the future.
Mhm.
Apart from that,
Mhm.
as people have become more health conscious, low
Right.
calorie foods, or rather than low calorie, with health conscious people also believe that it is necessary to be active now. So people
Mhm.
would consider having more of minimally processed foods,
Right.
because most of the times, to cut down cost,
Mhm.
the food looks good in appearance, but the food is actually so much processed. But now, since people are becoming aware about processing and how it affects the actual nutritional quality of food, minimal processed
Mhm.
foods are something which are trending now, and I think this is going to be a long trend, like a long lasting trend. This is going to be something in the future about sustainability. And considering sustainability, even vegan, like people are turning vegan to reduce the
Right.
nitrogen waste which we are depositing
Yeah.
to the earth.
Mhm.
So yeah, veganism and minimal processing food in terms of health
Right.
sectors. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay, Himangi. Yes, Rima, you wanted to say something?
Yes, just to elaborate and add on to Himangi's point, now the
Mm.
food security of the world is also increasing. So, they need to produce the food for everyone. So
Right.
now here comes the role of food technologists, main role of the food technologist, I could say. So, they can create food
Mhm.
from the waste of the other processes of the food. So, we have
Right.
lot of being, produced from the
Mhm.
processes. So, they can create a whey powder and even a cheese from whey powder. So this is an example I just wanted to back up with the food security, using the waste products produced from the processes. So definitely
All
this is
right.
going to be one of the important factor in the future to utilize the waste in some good way.
Right, right. This is actually very important to utilize the waste nowadays because of the amount they have been being generated nowadays.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to
Thank you.
sorry,
Himangi,
Preeti,
continue.
just to add on to this point, not exactly related to the food sector, but like how we are talking about sustainability and like reducing wastage or pollution. So right now in our industry or the dairy I work in, so what we have is every food product which is being produced, every food product needs a lot of water.
Right.
So according to the standards New Zealand has, and everyone would be aware of COD and BOD levels and what are the permissible limits. So what we do actually here is whatever water we are using, so we have a water treatment plant on site, and whatever water is used, the water treatment plant would reduce it to the permissible level, but that water is recycled rather than letting it into the water bodies.
Water
And
bodies. Yeah.
yeah, we just call it as cow water. So this
Okay.
water is just used to wash the tankers or wash the machineries. Obviously, these machineries and tankers are sanitized later, but we are just recycling that water. So that is what the
Yeah.
company is right now working on. So these are certain fields. Like as a food technologist, you are not only responsible for developing a product, but also, as Rima said, you can work on the way, like byproducts which are generated and how you can tackle if they are going to cause harm to the natural water bodies. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay, Himangi. Uh, Moving on to the next part. Would you like, since we are at the end of the session and we have already exceeded the time, can you just give a small tip to our student or any message that you would like to give to them in order to become a food technologist? We'll start with Rima, I think. Do you have anything just to add to?
Yes, definitely. Before going for this industry, one should be decided enough. You should decide enough that what exactly field are you interested to work. Because, for example, if you want to work in a quality field and you are offered job for new product development, obviously
Right.
you will not work that efficiently, or you will not be able to use the skill sets that much.
Right.
One should be
Okay. So
very much.
basically,
Yes, yes, but Preeti, you can say.
yeah. Okay. Okay, Rima. Ravi, what message would you like to give?
Yes. So my only message and suggestion to the young food technologist will be only that two things. First thing, once you get in industry, you should be your own guide. Okay. Own guide means you have to learn all the things from yourself. You don't depend on other. So always be a self guide. Okay. And the other thing is that you should be always a multitasking person. Okay. uh, Thinking of narrow minding your mind and thinking of only one job is not a trend in the industry. You should always be a multitasking person. Okay, so this thing are the major two funda or two message which I have give to the young food technologist
Okay. Thank
which
you,
are going
Ravi.
to be.
Sure. Okay. Himangi, what's your
Yeah,
input here?
I completely agree with Ravi that you have to be multitasking because if you are started with any section in the food industry, it is all related. So the communication between different sections into that industry, and it's always good to have a comprehensive knowledge about everything. It's not just, oh, you are appointed as a quality assurance, you don't need to know about the supply chain, you don't need to know about the quality control thing. So it's every time, like anytime, good to learn more about it. Always have a observant attitude and try and learn more about how things. And sometimes it is not necessary you should be trained or you should be taught everything. If you are just observant enough, you can learn many things. And apart from that, I would say, if you are planning, as soon as you start, like even now when you're doing your biotechnology masters or bachelors, try and engage yourself into certain platforms such as LinkedIn, and try and connect people with that industry. You can talk to those people, like say a general hi, or say send them a message and try to know about what industry they are working at, what is their job profile. Because most of the times students do not have a clear idea about what quality control is, what quality assurance is.
Can be into work into food industry. Okay, having get into the during your course duration, you can get into the internship. You can learn hands-on experience with the industry, providing internship, which will be really helpful for you to build your knowledge with respect to these things. Not only with the testing equipments, apart from every, like in dairy industry, there are many silos. There are many like CIP system, all many. So you can learn that once you get into the industry for internship. So don't worry.
All right. Rima, do you have anything to put into this?
No, please continue.
Okay. Okay, fine. Moving on to the next question, which is by Mohammed Shorulia. Can you give examples of some of the company that provides food technologist job in Mumbai? And if want to get job in food department in airport, what are the eligibility and processes? I think Ravi and Rima are the right candidate for this question. We'll proceed with Rima.
Yeah, definitely. There are many, startup companies nowadays. Now, this food, as I said earlier, is now booming. So, now even I've seen many of the engineers are turning to an entrepreneur, getting a new product and, bringing the food industry into the market. So, there are many startup companies. And definitely with that, I would say, whenever you're, going for initial stage of your job, don't expect much high salary.
Okay.
So startup company would be, the best thing. You can get a good exposure. You can get hands-on on different departments like quality, R&D. As I said, I started my career in fiber products, which was a startup company. So therein, which I worked on the standardization of the recipes also, and in the quality field also.
All
Apart
right.
from that, there are many companies like Ravi is working in one of the company as a quality assurance and hygiene super executive, even Oberoi Flight Services. So there are many flight
Right.
caterings also. If one is intending to work as a microbiologist or in the quality field.
Okay. Okay, fine. Ravi, do you have to put any perspective to this question?
Yes. As the candidate said about the airport job, so I will give you some grounds on idea like how airport operates. See, in India, all the airports are operated by Airport Authority of India. Okay, this is a public body. Okay, apart from this, there is private bodies also like GVK, GMR, BIAL. So these are all private bodies which are into airport handling services. Okay, at airport many different entities are working together, okay, to give a final service to the passengers. Okay, so if you are thinking to get a food safety officer into the airport, so if you're planning to go to the government job like that is public job, that you have to go through FSSAI. Okay, FSSAI appoints a food safety officer or a designated officer which is called a APHO at every airport. Okay, they are placed in respect to public sector. So catering services handled by different industry like at air working. See, at airport there are two types of catering service. One is on catering and one is on ground catering. Okay, so with respect to on ground catering, there are players like Travel Food Services, which I am currently working. There are players like Light by Travel Food Services. There are players like Devani Foods, Devani International. So these are the players which are providing F&B services to the passenger inside the airport on the ground. Okay, so you have to get in touch with this industry. And for the flight catering services, there are players like, as Rima said, Obra Flight Catering, Task Strats. Okay, yeah, the Sky Comet, Gate Group. These are all the players which are providing services to on-flight catering. So I think I have answered his question.
Yeah, it is enough, I think.
Yeah.
The next question is, can you
Thank
give
you.
some suggestions on certain questions which can be asked in interview in an industry or research institution, and how we should be prepared for it? Hemangi, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah, I'll just start with saying all the questions, like whatever interviews I have attended, or what are the basic questions. Like almost every interview would have a similar set of questions which they ask, and some questions specifically about their industry, and they would like to know your experience into that. So I'll just start with each question, and I'll let you know how to answer that question. So firstly, basically they'll like you to introduce themselves. Firstly, most of the interviews would start with an introduction about what the company is, how it works, and they'll tell you about their market share and all. They'll give you a basic idea about the company, and then they will let ask would expect to know about you. So it is about yourself. So I would say, um, just keep it very brief when you are telling about yourself. And like there would be questions coming about your educational background and everything, so you can just mention, okay, I've done this, these are my qualifications, and these are my hobbies, and just sum up about your educational and professional background, because this is what is going to make them understand that how you can be eligible for this job. So just like collectively talking about your professional and your educational background would be a better start to tell them about yourself. Then secondly, they would ask question about your strengths. So for this, to answer this question, like basically for any question when you answer an interview, just make it sure that you are very thorough with what job description was given. Or certain companies, when you apply and you do not get a job description, it is always preferable to mail the HR or mail the employer and get a job description from them, so that you can prepare well for the interview. There is no harm in asking about it. You can ask about for a job description, and make sure your strengths are what is required for the job. Definitely your answers are different every time, but you want the job. So your strength should be that is what is most required for the job. And as I mentioned earlier, whatever statements you are giving, just don't tell them, oh, this is a samples. How you have previously shown, or how you have previously showcased this particular trait of yours, how this feature of yours have previously helped you. Then they will ask you about your weaknesses. Never say that you don't have any weaknesses. You definitely have, but do not mention too many. Mention a couple of weaknesses, but at the same time, you can either mention that you're working on it, you're working to improve yourself, or how sometimes that weakness you are able to turn into a strength. Like, for example, you would say, I'm very methodical. I learn to, like, I love to know things in details, but sometimes because you want to know things in details, it takes time, and sometimes some decisions have to be taken quick. So how you're working on it, you can say, I take the decision, I'll call out my team and try and know everyone's perspective, so that gives me a better idea about that situation, and I try to talk about it and take the decision at that time. But I make sure, because of my methodical attitude, I'll get back to it once the thing is done, and I'll get a thorough knowledge about what that thing is about, so next time this problem comes in, I'm more prepared for it. So you just need to understand how you can flip your weaknesses into strengths, and never say that you are perfectionist, like, oh, I know everything. Then other thing is, why do you want to work for the company? So talk about more things, like rather than what is given on Google or what you know about the company, you definitely need to have some more information about it. Like, make them understand that if they hire you, you are going to be an asset to that company and not just a liability. So that is how your answer should be. Apart from that, other questions would be situational question, like describe a time when it was a difficult situation or when you faced a problem, and how did you overcome it. So this is based on your experiences. But when you go as an entry level person, you have to thoroughly think about in your past, and they know from your resume that you do not have an industrial experience, but in your lab during some practicals, you must have faced some practical difficulties, or in your daily life also. When you do not have enough industrial examples, you can connect your daily life examples, because this is what I mean by transferable skills. You just have to relate things and show them how you acted attentively there.
Okay.
Then where do you see yourself in 5 years? So just be very careful about answering this question. Like, you don't want to sound very overconfident, but at the same time, you also have to show that, oh, you are here to stay for a longer time. And like, for example, you can say that I definitely see for career progression, but at the same time, like, if career there is an opportunity for progression, I'll definitely go for it. But at the same time, you also want to tell them that I need to know what role I am in. I need to master this first, and then I'll go for career progression, because no employer wants someone who is just want to jump from like one step to another without knowing any section better. So how composed you are, that is what they mean to know, like want to know. They'll ask you about your achievements. So you can mention, and this can be anything, like if you have won something, some scholarships, or like a particular skill set you have, then why should they hire you, and what do you know about them. This is all you need to just research more about the company really. And sometimes there would be certain outstanding points, or certain failures a company would have faced. So you can just in a generous way tell them, oh, this was the problem previously faced, and this problem was faced because of this things went wrong.
Right.
So we can work on it. Like, we can make sure that these things don't go wrong. We can collectively come to a decision. So you need to know thoroughly about the company. And lastly, always ask employer questions. They are more interest they would be more impressed if they get to know that you are really interested in their company. So ask employer questions about how the previous employees tackled with that particular position, or what are the employer's expectation apart from what is given in the job profile from an candidate which you want to hire. And if you don't have anything, because sometimes it is very difficult to know about an industry, as especially when you are very fresh after your degree, you don't know much about the industry, how the industry works. Just ask them about feedback about your interview, but do not leave the interview without asking questions, because that is, you're just getting some minus points on your critical thinking or your questioning ability, how curious you are to know about the industry. So yeah, that are pretty much the basic questions which are asked for an industry, and there will be some questions which are specific to your role, and you can answer them on the basis of how thoroughly you have researched about your job description.
Okay, Himangi. Rima and Ravi, can you just tell us what are the questions that you guys faced during your interview, or what are expected from Indian industries?
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
Priti. Himangi has elaborated the questions, basic questions asked by every industry before, getting you into it, the company.
Mhm.
I would like to
Mhm.
add few more questions to it. Now, if we have done certain, courses like Ravi mentioned before, HACCP or, HLP and
Mhm.
other courses also. So they will like to know how you have applied those, knowledge from that courses in your previous industries you have worked with.
Right.
Okay, and
Okay.
also one more thing, they are curious to know why you left your previous company. If you are,
Mhm.
experienced going on for some other company after an
Right.
experience of a year or so, they are more curious
Mhm.
to know why you left the, previous industry. You should
Okay.
have a valid reason and not to say a bad about the company, I would say.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it always has to be a positive approach in the interview.
Approach. Or you can say
Yeah.
just for your growth or something of that aspect.
Okay. Okay, Rima. Yes, Ravi, you can continue with your answer.
Yes, I like to give my only message I will like to give to the candidate will be like, don't be afraid for the interview. Okay,
Mhm.
just present yourself. Okay,
Mhm.
and also let you know ki if the interview is not, see, since once you started to get into to penetrate into the food industry, you will be facing many interviews. Okay, so
Mhm.
rejecting in a particular one interview or two in an interview, that doesn't make a sense. You can't be cracking the interview. Okay, see,
True.
interview
True.
are only a 1 hour interview. Okay, So this 1 hour interview will not be defining your whole life. So more conscious, happening more conscious about your interview will not be so problem. I mean, will not be a thumbs up for this. Okay, just be presentable, just be open up. That's all. That's a major key for this.
Right, right. And I think
And
with the rejections, you learn also.
no, if you're rejected in a certain interview, this one doesn't define your whole life. Okay, so be positive, get into another interview, crack that. There are many interviews. Okay, interviews are the part of a life, even. Correct.
Mhm. Yeah, it is a part of life. Yes. Next question is, do we need to get any certificate course for doing masters in abroad? I think Himangi can answer this question.
You don't need any certificate course to be done.
Okay.
Just a bachelor's or a master's, your previous qualification from India is enough. You just like as per the requirements of a particular nation, like for New Zealand, you just need an English efficiency test, that is IELTS or a TOEFL. IELTS is required basically. But apart from that, you don't need any certification course as such. Just you have to write a statement of purpose. So in which you have to elaborate how your previous study is related to the course you are trying to pursue,
Mhm.
and at the same time how you can relate like how and why you want to do that course, why you are interested into that. Like if you're coming from biotechnology, which is a more generalized field, to food technology, which you are specializing, why you are interested in it. That's it. And for biotechnology to food technology is not a big jump. Like the courses are related. It is just a more specialization course. But sometimes if you are trying to switch from very extreme fields, they need you have to write a convincing statement of purpose to say as to why you have to join that particular course and how is it related to your previous course. But no certification courses are required.
Okay, okay. Okay, fine. So we are done with the question. There's one more question by Nikita, and I've asked her to all the students who have any more questions. We apologize for this time constraint. You can contact our guests personally for any queries that you have. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Now it is time to wrap up. I thank our lovely guests for joining us and helping us to give their valuable input in regards of this particular field. And also, I would like to thank our coordinator, Mrs. Ruchita Rane, for lending us some of her time. I hope the show was fruitful for all of you all. For the student, the feedback link would be shared in the WhatsApp group, so you all can fill in the feedback form. See you all next time. Have a good day. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.